Guys, welcome back for another episode of It's Too Late. I am your host, Alan Mosley, joined, as always, by the number one producer in late night. It's Sherry Voluntary. Sherry, where have you been?
Dead almost. No.
I mean,
in tech hell.
that sounds awful.
It is. You know, I end up there a lot since I'm dumb. But
If you could go to tech hell and talk to one person, who would it be?
oh, what's the dude from Apple?
Steve Jobs?
Steve Jobs? Yeah.
I think
guess him.
I think a lot of people miss Steve Jobs because they feel like Apple was better off when he was around than it is now. But
I never use Apple, so I don't know.
But you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Sherry Voluntary thinks Steve Jobs is burning in hell.
I do.
Wow. I'll tell you who's not burning in hell. You may not be aware of this. So first of all, I don't know if they're married because we don't do anywhere near good enough research on this program.
Right.
But Macaulay Culkin is now a dad.
Yeah.
He and Brenda Song they've just given birth to their first child, a boy named Dakota. Now I want you to look at that picture for a second there really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, talk about Dakota Culkin being on a knife's edge. Just the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away, as I'm wont to say. I mean, you know me.
Right, yeah, yes.
I haven't seen this kid, but
Right.
wherever this baby is right now, we're going to find out if we have a loving God or a vengeful God. Will this child get hot Asian genes and be generic diversity higher A? Or will this child get Culkin genes and be homeless man ODs on meth more at 11?
Right. Yeah, I think there's quite a bit of beauty disparity there. I'm gonna call it that.
You know what? I'll tell you what, though. Good on him. Good.
Yeah.
Good job, Macaulay.
Yeah. I mean, she's a looker, no doubt.
Just and also too, like, I'm not really a huge fan of the name Dakota, but it's a hell of a lot better than Macaulay. So.
Yes. Or all those other celebrity names,
like Ocean and East,
like
and
Apple, yeah, and what was that dude? He named his kid Co-Pilot.
Wait, what?
Co-Pilot.
Wait, whoa. Who named their baby Co-Pilot?
I can't think of his name right now. He was in that movie, Mallrats, and all those movies. He's a Scientologist guy. What's his name? I forget his name.
What? This is gonna bother me now. Okay, during the commercial break, we're gonna look that up. Okay.
He was the one. Okay, we'll look it up. He was the one that shook everybody's hand with when you touched his bottom. Just saying.
Well, now I know you're telling the truth, because if there's anything about the pedophiles in Hollywood, they know about touching the bottom and then shaking your hand. So there you go.
There you go.
Boy, this episode really just got off to a weird.
I'm back, everyone.
Speaking of that, we just did a segment about a new celebrity life coming into the world, but there's also been some celebrity deaths. And the first one we're going to talk about, at the age of 50, that's too young, by the way. At the age of 50, the rapper DMX has shuffled off this mortal coil. And it was a heart attack, by the way. So, not a gun, not cocaine. Right. Not that cocaine couldn't have contributed. I mean, far be it for me to tell you how much cocaine you should or shouldn't have, but obviously, however much it either was or wasn't enough for DMX.
Right.
And if you want to see somebody who really doesn't have a whole lot in common with DMX, both in terms of being having much less melanin and having a lot more years.
Yes.
There's Prince Philip across the pond. Prince Philip, he was 99, and just by the way, that's as good of a picture as I could find. I mean, I could find a picture of him when he was younger, of course.
Right.
But a picture that was like even within the last 20 years was not exactly favorable. So by Prince Philip standards, that's as good as you're going to get.
I mean.
But us here on the program, we're not ones to just do a big in memoriam section like sports ball and not have a laugh or two. So we're gonna, Sherry, you and I are gonna play a game.
Okay, I'm down.
I came up with this game right before we went on. It's going to be who will have more of what at their funeral.
Okay.
So this is how we're going to play. And folks at home, you follow along. I'm going to read out a question of who will have more this type of person at their funeral. And then Sherry will decide if either DMX or Prince Philip would have more of those people. So there's DMX and there's Prince Philip. All right. Are you ready, Sherry?
I believe I am, Alan.
Okay. Number one. Who will have more NBA players at their funeral?
I think it's pretty safe to say DMX. I'm going
DMX.
with DMX.
Okay. All right. Fair. I think that's probably a pretty good assumption.
Okay.
All right. Round two. Who will have more members of royalty at their funeral?
Okay. This so far pretty easy, I think.
Okay. Prince Philip. All right. Good answer. All right. We're going to get a little bit tougher.
Okay.
Who is more likely to have more rappers and hip hop artists at their funeral?
DMX, I believe.
Okay, DMX. Probably a pretty safe answer. All right.
Yeah.
Last one. Bonus round.
Okay. Ooh.
Who is going to have more pedophiles at their funeral?
Let me think. Could it be Prince Philip?
Oh, no! Now, I'm not saying Prince Philip has diddled some children.
Right.
But I'm saying people very close to Prince Philip have almost certainly diddled some children.
Yeah, I believe that there's a bunch of child botherers in that family.
Yeah, there definitely is.
Yeah.
Before we take our first break, I do want to mention one thing that's halfway serious, and I saw this on social media right before we got ready to do tonight's show. Did you know that we are now up to the 2-year anniversary of Julian Assange being taken out of the embassy and taken to Belmarsh prison there in London?
No, I did not know that. Wow,
like
2 years.
2 years, yeah. I mean, that was what really struck me, is that I still, I vividly remember the whole, remember him, in the car or on the bus or whatever, giving, the thumbs up and, with his beard and everything, and them driving him away and all that stuff. That was
that long ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, the before
2 years
times.
ago. In the before times. Well, what's funny is that, so we, way back 2 years ago on the program, on the old show, we talked about that really briefly. It was actually right around the time that we had Ron Paul on the show. Right. And then we hadn't really had any type of big Julian Assange update until, whatever it was, 18, 20 months later, when we talked about the extradition hearing, which they chose to not extradite Julian Assange to the United States. Now, the U.S. is appealing that, and it's not technically worked its way through the courts yet. But as of this recording, that's where it stands, is that they had the extradition hearing. The judge ultimately decided to not extradite him to the United States. And the reason why this is so interesting to bring up today is because this is the 2-year anniversary of him being taken to Belmarsh, where he remains. He's still there. Now, he did try to get at least let out on bail, and that was denied, which is a travesty in of itself. Right. But it's what's interesting, though, is that I feel like the layman outside of this whole thing would say, well, but wait a minute. If he's not really particularly on trial for anything right this second, and I know there's the whole business of, well, did he break bail by trying to escape to the embassy and all that stuff? But one would ask out loud that, well, if there's not a current trial going on, or if there is, it shouldn't take multiple years to get around to hearings.
Correct.
And so why is he in Belmarsh right now? Why isn't he either at a minimum out on his own recognizant, or at a maximum it's just case dismissed and we're moving on with their lives? And that's kind of the interesting place that Assange is at right now, in that he sort of had that minor legal victory in that he wasn't shipped off to Guantanamo Bay that day. But that doesn't mean he's free. That just means his enemies will live to fight another day. Right? You wait here until we figure out a way to nail you.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's great because you're usually, if they let you out of your own recognizance or whatever, they'll say, if they don't want that, he's a flight risk. Well, He might be, but where is Julian Assange going to go in the world that people don't know who he is? Like that's
Yeah.
even if he did escape again, like people are going to know where he is. So,
well, I just, we're going to get ready to take the first commercial break. I just want to end that note by just simply saying, I feel like other people more eloquently than I have already talked at great length about how he's had all of these legal troubles while the secrets he exposed, the people he exposed, the war crimes that he exposed committed by the U.S. military in particular, no one has gone down for that, yet here he sits in Belmarsh. I feel like my leaving point on that is that it seems like, far be it for me to have my tinfoil hat on, but it seems like they will either figure out a way to make him suffer, or they will just simply have him languish in the judicial system in some way until he dies. Like and I hope he doesn't, like, if any of us were in the position he was in, I couldn't imagine the mental strain and the psychological torture that he's been under for years now.
Yeah.
I hope that does not drive him to do something to himself, but it seems like his enemies kind of have this attitude of, well, if we can't dot the I's and cross the T's in such a way that's gonna make him turn him over to our custody, then at a minimum we'll just make him languish there until he expires. That's kind of how I feel about it. So
disgusting.
This would have been a lot more fun monologue if we had ended with the pedophile joke.
Right, I know. Pedophiles are way more fun than Julian Assange dying in prison. Jeez.
You heard it here first, folks. Sherry Voluntary says pedophiles are just more fun. Guys, we will be right back after the break with the meme of the week and the viewer mail. Don't go away. If you're enjoying tonight's show, consider supporting the program by becoming a member of our Patreon. That's over at patreon.com/Alan Mosley. Guys, welcome back to the show. Hey, Sherry.
Yes?
What time is it?
Meme of the week!
Minnesota officer meant to fire taser, not handgun. In deadly Dante Wright shooting, police chief says. Look at that little policeman's cap on that goddamn retard.
Oh Lord. I love the little hamster cage wheel on the guy.
And they're putting their hands on his shoulder like you did good. You did good.
It's okay, buddy. We understand.
So just for the folks at home, we do very strict curating here at the program for what meme of the week we're going to use. And so we had a couple of other contenders for this week's meme of the week, and that was the one we decided on, but I don't want you guys to miss out. So here was a couple of the alternate. These were the honorable mention meme of the weeks this week. So this was meme of the week number 2. Glock 9mm. Diversity hire lady cop. Is this a taser?
Oh, God.
Far be it for us to not have a little misogyny on the program.
Yeah, I love a little misogyny.
And then finally, meme of the week number 3. Minnesota police officer. I meant to draw my taser. Wink.
That's probably the most truest one.
I mean, okay. I'm going to get this out here because we're not really talking about the Dante Wright thing on the show tonight. Because in fact, we've done this on the show before where I said I can't cover every single cop murder on the program because they just won't stop killing people.
They just won't stop murdering people. Yeah.
So we're not actually talking about that in any great length, but I feel like now that we've opened up Pandora's box on this, I do want to say, look, I've seen the body cam footage, and based on how it went down and based on the reaction, it does actually seem like the officer legit just totally spaced it and actually thought when they pulled the trigger, like the prongs would come out instead of a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not me defending her, by the way. This is let's say I give it to you and it's totally an accident. Like I'm gonna cede the ground that it was a huge, terrible mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but huge, terrible mistakes still have consequences. As Dante Wright
Correct.
certainly found out in literal sense has consequences, but also should have follow-up consequences. So like because Sherry and I do this all the time. So when I was last out in East Tennessee visiting Sherry, and I said, hey guys, look, I'm going to shoot Sherry with a taser. So when I pulled the trigger, but I actually gunned her down with a 9mm.
Right.
Sherry didn't say, oh, Alan.
Yeah.
No.
Now they know where I've really been.
Yeah, exactly right. But like, even if it was genuinely an accident and you immediately got up and dusted yourself off because, you know, you're like Luke Cage or something, and you said, Alan, oh man, he's done it again, you guys. Like, but there would still be consequences for my actions.
Yeah.
Like there would, so like, I'm pretty sure your kids wouldn't be like, dang it, mom's dead.
Well, guess I got to make my own dinner.
That actually might be their reaction. But the reaction would also be, he should go to jail.
Yeah.
And they would be right, because you can't, there's certain, like, it's not a mistake like you tripped over your own feet on the sidewalk. That's a mistake that only hurt you and didn't hurt anyone else. And you've already felt some physical ramifications of your mistake, and that was the end of it. Mm-hmm. This is not that. This is, you have taken someone else's life. We believe in all rights are property rights, and we believe you own yourself. And the worst form of theft that there is murder, because you have stolen that person's life. Now, you know, say you accidentally stole that person's life because, look, you thought it was your apartment. It was late, you were drunk, you thought you walked into your apartment. You didn't realize it was Botham Jean's apartment.
Right.
Even if I were to give it to you that was totally a mistake, you still accidentally took his life.
Correct.
Now, I'm not going to sit here and get into debate with you about the finer details of, oh, was he resisting? Oh, was the traffic stop legit? Guys, first of all, the reason I'm not going to go there is because if you think any of the answers to any of those questions should be, well, in that case, end his life, then you are just human filth and you can go tune into another program.
Correct.
But, correct.
It's correct.
But the point being is that, for one, it's amazing. It's amazing to me that they're honest to God. Like, when I shared that, like, I told a couple of my friends, hey, they're saying it was an accident. The officer thought it was a taser. My friends were saying, like they thought I was being facetious. Like, you're just saying that to be funny. I was like, no, hold on. And I like screenshot the headline from the chief of police. Like, this is honest to God, their story, and they're sticking to it.
Wow.
So we will certainly find out if the rules apply to them as they apply to us. Right. But we will certainly keep you posted on the Dante Wright thing. In the meantime, let's answer some viewer mail. I can't tell what I like more about that one.
Yeah.
If it's the throwback to mid-90s soft rock, or if it makes you feel like you were playing putt golf.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. I like it.
I kind of, you like that, or you like mini golf?
I like the one you just did. I mean, you have a bunch of different good ones, so they're good.
Right now, people have no idea what you're talking about. In fact, they don't even see you. This is just a voice in my head right now.
I'm here, Alan. I'm here.
Okay. All right. So you're going on record. Okay. What's more fun, pedophiles or putt golf?
Well, fun for me is putt golf. Fun for pedophiles is pedophiling. So,
Pedophiling.
yeah.
All right. So anyway, Andrew Avery writes, Dear Alan and Sherry, was Marty Feldman seeing someone on the side? Now, Andrew, I got to tell you, like, bringing up a random obscure actor from like the middle of the 20th century from Britain, like that, I don't feel like that's going to strike a lot of chords with our modern viewers. So just for you guys at home, so that you can be in on the joke with Andrew. So this is Marty Feldman right here. Take a look. That's Marty Feldman. How dare you, Andrew?
Right. Yeah.
How dare you make fun of a man based on his appearance and not the content of his character? We don't do that around here.
Never.
Like with Prince Philip. So you know what? He actually was seeing someone on the side. So there you go.
Yeah. Well.
Eric Eli writes, Dear Alan and Sherry, this is a visual question, and I actually want to make people understand that this is not okay. You can't give me graphics to put on the show. I already have a show to produce. I don't need you guys sending me things. But we did. Dear Alan and Sherry, which one is correct? Number 1 or number 2? What's the name of that dinosaur?
Brachiosaurus.
Brachiosaurus, yeah, Brontosaurus, something like that.
Something like that.
So the answer, in all seriousness, is number 2.
Yeah, absolutely, number 2.
Because his neck is really long, but even if no matter what the length of your neck is, the tie is at the base of your neck,
right?
Not at the top of your neck.
Yeah, I mean,
like I wouldn't have my tie up here at my chin. It's down here on my collar.
Yeah. I don't see why this is a question, honestly.
You haven't been to a lot of our viewer mails, have you? It actually made me think of, have you seen the meme of a dog wearing pants? Which one is correct? Should they have, are they going to wear blue jeans up all 4 legs, or are they going to wear blue jeans on their hind legs? To me, again, this isn't even a debate. If we walked on all 4s, this would still be our fronts and this would still be our backs. So you would still just wear the jeans on your back legs. So they would just wear blue jeans on their hind legs. It's not even...
Right. Yeah. I do not wear jeans across my boobs. I mean, now that I'm getting older...
Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake did in that one picture. Remember where they wore the whole jean outfits? She had a whole jean dress. Remember?
Well, not
anyway,
jeans.
There's been some obscure ass references in this episode so far. Okay.
That was a terrible picture.
You're a terrible picture.
I know.
Free Britney. Clay Davis writes, Dear Alan and Sherry, do you think it was... Clay, I don't think I can... Can I read this on the air without us getting canceled? Okay.
You said retard earlier, so you just already getting canceled.
Fucking retard. Clay Davis writes, Dear Alan and Sherry, do you think it was difficult for George Takei to say the words glory hole without an Asian accent while Roosevelt was locking up Japanese Americans in camps?
Oh, wow.
Okay. So first of all, Clay, is everything all right, buddy? Is everything okay at home?
Wow.
Well,
I don't know what to say.
This is a very literal show, and we give literal answers. And so to answer your question, Clay, do you think it was difficult for George Takei to say the words glory hole without an Asian accent while Roosevelt was locking up Japanese Americans in camps? My answer is, I don't think it was, because by God, he's a professional actor.
That's right.
He could do it.
Oh my.
You know what? Cut your mic for the rest of the show for that. That's it. You're out of here. You're out of here. Mike Meharry writes, Dear Alan and Sherry, would you rather be hot or cold, and why? Now, I actually already answered Mike on... Mike, so this tells you how old Mike Meharry's getting, guys. Mike, not only have we had that question on this program before, that question was asked by Mike back at the episode 150 special that he was a part of.
Right. Well, I thought we had gone over this already.
We went over this already in graphic detail, by Mike asking me that question live on stage.
Right.
He actually followed up with substitute. How funny is Old Man Meharry's memory loss? Pretty damn funny. I enjoy it.
10
10 out of 10. Jonathan Carranza writes, Dear Alan and Sherry, what is your favorite pastry? Sherry, what's your favorite pastry?
Is a croissant a pastry or is that just bread? I love those cream horns. Oh, cannoli. Oh, cannoli.
Chicken fajita nachos with extra cheese. Lyle Virio writes, Dear Alan and Sherry, will buying an extended vehicle warranty plan protect my car from immediately exploding when my driver's license expires this month? It actually won't, but here's the thing. This is what I'm going to do, Lyle. I'm going to start calling you every day around noon to let you know that your vehicle's extended warranty plan is expiring and ask you whether or not you would like to extend it. Because somebody does that for me. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I was going to say, hello, my name is Sarah Richardson.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So we've done pedophiles. We've done retard. We've done some Asian glory hole stuff.
Yeah.
And now we're doing Bangladesh. So if this episode isn't the episode that gets us canceled, then we might just be immune, honestly.
Like after they take the COVID vaccine, right?
The official fiance of It's Too Late really doesn't enjoy the one great impression that I do. I'm not really an impressions person. I'm really more of a zany analogies type comedian. I'm not really an impressions comedian. The only impression I do really well is calling you about your long distance service. and I'll tell you what, she doesn't like it.
I don't know why.
Yes, sir, I'm calling about your long distance service. Are you happy with your long distance service?
They always have to say, though, they have a name like, Bob.
Hello, this is Bob calling from Bangladesh. Yeah. God, but by we, I mean, you're a racist, Sherry. You're a racist. Clay asked another question, but Clay, I think you had enough.
He's done. Done.
Last one for this week. Adam Sakosan writes, Dear Alan and Sherry, if you let cookie dough ice cream melt, is it ice cream, soup, cereal, or liquidy cookie dough? Now Adam's trying to get us here because, see, he listed soup and cereal as two different things. But as people who watch this program know, cereal is soup.
Is soup, right?
And so I'm actually going to say that if you let it melt and you're left with a bowl of melted ice cream, so I guess just cream now, and there's cookie dough in it, sounds like soup to me.
Do you remember those little, the cookie crunch or whatever it was, cookie cereal? Do you remember that? When they actually just didn't even pretend that cereal wasn't anything but candy? Like, do you remember those?
I think they still have it.
Really?
I think they still have that. And now you've got like Reese's Puffs cereal. Like it's just Reese's. Just pour some Reese's into a bowl and pour milk and just eat it. Just do it. Just eat it.
I'll do that. Don't dare me.
I tell you what, if I had a halfway decent producer, they would be in my earbuds saying, "Alan, we're like 6 minutes over for the segment. We got to cut."
Alan,
and then I would say to them, "Well, let's just go ahead and do the rest." Guys, we're going to be right back to talk about why no amendment to the Constitution is absolute. Right after this break. Don't go away. Your ad could be playing right now, reaching thousands of potential customers. Sadly, it's not, but it could be. Find out how to be an advertised sponsor for It's Too Late with Alan Mosley. email us at info@alanmosley.tv. Guys, welcome back to the show. So Sherry has informed me that it is the actor Jason Lee who was Earl in the show My Name is Earl. And he had a son, and he named his son Pilot Inspector.
Yes.
Inspector with a K.
Correct. Why, though?
I mean, like, if you said to me, Alan, who's going to kill themselves? My answer would be someone named Pilot Inspector.
Right.
Pilot Inspector Lee.
Yeah, it's like, well, with the Dakota from Brenda Song and Macaulay Culkin, at least they did something kind of normal, not like I have a weird name child, but it's like an actual foreign name. It's not Pilot Inspector. It's just crazy.
Yeah. You're talking about Vladimir, right? That's what you're talking about.
Vladimir.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to call him from now on.
You'll love that.
So anyway, a lot of people were really up in arms because almost a week ago now at this point, Joe Biden went up to the steps of the Capitol or the White House, and he gave this big impassioned speech about how we're just one more bit of federal gun control away from living in a paradise. And the natural response, the correct response, by the way, is, well, but federal gun control is unconstitutional. All federal gun control is unconstitutional. And President Biden kind of was ready to head that objection off by the pass when he said that those people who rant and rave about the Second Amendment, that's a phony argument. And then he followed up that phony argument comment with this statement. Sherry?
But no amendment to the Constitution is absolute. No amendment to the Constitution is absolute. Now, I feel like I could just say, you know what, he's right, and then we could just go to commercial break and we're done. But I'm going to go a little bit deeper. So first of all, in some sense, he is right. Because the Constitution doesn't mean a goddamn thing. Yeah. It clearly doesn't, because if this man who is the president can walk up to that podium and look the American people in the eyes and say, so I'm getting ready to sign some executive orders saying that I'm changing the way gun laws work because I said so. Here, it even has my signature. Mm-hmm. The fact that he wasn't drug out onto the lawn and strung up right there in front of everybody tells you that clearly law is meaningless and the Constitution has no authority whatsoever.
Correct.
However, at the same time, it's hard for me to take seriously a lot of the opposition specifically to President Biden when he makes that statement. Because that statement is one of those things where you hear some people say when they say the quiet part out loud, that's really all that was. Like the people who work within the state, Leviathan has always felt that way. Mm-hmm. Leviathan has always felt like no amendment is absolute and they're just going to do whatever they want.
Yep.
He just said it out loud. That's really all it is. But
and his elderliness.
Yeah, he doesn't even remember he said it. So give the man a break. But that being, and now we're making fun of Alzheimer's patients. This has been a rough episode for everyone who isn't me. So anyway, but it's hard for me to take the opposition seriously when the guy who sat in that chair right before him, Donald Trump, also prosecuted more federal gun control than any other president, including with signing an executive order to ban bump stocks. Mm-hmm. And while I'm not saying that there wasn't some opposition to that, it wasn't the same. And it certainly wasn't the same people. You didn't see the same a supposed right-wing activists and gun rights activists nationwide saying, oh, no, you don't have that authority. So whatever orders you're issuing
are null and void within our city, our state, our county, whatever. You saw a little bit of that, but you didn't see a lot of it.
Right.
And now you're seeing some of those same usual suspects now ready to go to bat for gun rights because Biden said it. Yeah. And so that being neither here nor there, that's hypocrisy in a nutshell. But there's a few other stories that have happened in the news since that speech that it's just kind of interesting timing for as we're recording this episode. So there was actually a school shooting closer to your neck of the woods, Sherry, out there in East Tennessee.
Yeah.
There, in which I understand there's actually been a rash of shootings out there in the Austin East community area of Knoxville. But there was a school shooting out there in Knoxville, Tennessee, and a lot of people like to score political points because that's sort of where we're at in political discourse, is that the people want to score political points. People on the left don't really give a damn about some random kids or officer who gets shot at a school shooting. They want to use that to score political points. In the same way that people on the right really don't give a damn about the right to bear arms. They really just care who's issuing the edicts to score political points. Mm-hmm. And to the point, to the whole concept of political points, I saw some people on Twitter that were saying, oh, well, of course we've had a school shooting when not just days ago, our Republican governor, Bill Lee, had just signed into law a constitutional carry in the state of Tennessee. Now, we actually had a little write-up from that. It actually comes from our friend Mike Meharry, who from the 10th Amendment Center. He had a little write-up, Tennessee enacts constitutional carry. Now, of course, I could go into the details and say that I know that these people are just trying to score political points because, well, for one, the bill hadn't even got into effect yet at the time of the school shooting. And two, that particular bill, ladies and gentlemen, only applies to people aged 21 and older who, if you're above 21 and you have a legal right to possess a firearm, which of course we would say everyone does, but
right.
That's legalese for felons, people in the state of Tennessee with a record who are not going to be normally issued a license. If you're not one of those people, you can now either openly or conceal carry without a permit in the state of Tennessee. Now, if you want to enjoy that right in another state that has reciprocity with Tennessee, you'd still have to have a license saying, oh, I'm from Tennessee. I want to enjoy reciprocity. But if you're in the state of Tennessee, you can openly, we have constitutional carry now. And so, yes, you have this speech from President Biden saying, we're gonna go after the right to bear arms. And then you have a state like Tennessee saying, well, if you're going to do that, then we're going to sign into law constitutional carry, and good on them. And then you have something like a school shooting. These are not, I guess the point I'm trying to make is that these are not really necessarily directly related. Mm-hmm. And while I'm happy that my home state, the state of Tennessee, has signed constitutional carry into law, they didn't rush constitutional. First of all, why didn't we always have constitutional carry? Why did it just pass? It just passed because we didn't already have it. Why didn't we already have it? They obviously didn't care about the right to bear arms before that day because we didn't always have it. And furthermore, when Donald Trump was in the presidency and he was signing executive orders to ban things like gun stocks, and when he was prosecuting more federal gun control than any president before him, did you see the Tennessee state legislature and Governor Bill Lee rushing to pass constitutional carry? I didn't see it.
Neither did I, Alan.
So that sounds to me, I mean, I'm sorry if I just sound like such a cynic. That sounds to me like they're really just more trying to score political points than they are trying to make the world a better place.
Doesn't it?
So, but before we get too carried away, the last thing I wanted to touch on is, going back to that clip from Biden, he said, no amendment to the Constitution is absolute. That's such wonderful news. Well, now, Sherry, now that we know that no amendment to the Constitution is absolute, let's take a look at the amendments to the Constitution, shall we? There's the 27 amendments to the Constitution, starting with the first 10, the Bill of Rights, and going onward. Let's pick out a few of those that we're going to be happy to know are no longer absolute. We're going to skip the Bill of Rights from now. Let's move on to, how about the abolition of slavery? Amendment number 13.
Yeah.
Biden, leave it up to old man Biden, who campaigned with leading members of the KKK to bring back slavery. Am I right?
Aren't we glad for that? Yeah.
Number 15. Number 15. Rights not to be denied because of race. Well,
mm,
that really sort of ties into the last one.
same one.
Hey, my man, Amendment number 16 that gave us the federal income tax. Guys, I mean, tax season is upon us. If you haven't already filed, don't sweat it, my friends.
Right?
Just send them a friendly letter to your local Department of Treasury and just let them know you're not going to be filing this year because, hey, the income tax just simply isn't absolute.
That's right. I like it.
I would be remiss to skip over number 18, which also was repealed by number 21. That was prohibition. I'm glad. Of course, it's been repealed, but I'm so glad both to know that things like marijuana don't apply in this particular context, but also to know. But again, guys, who cares? It's just not absolute. Number 19, women's right to vote. It would be your favorite.
I'm just glad that he's, made sure that my burden of voting is going to be taken care of because I don't do it anyway. So there we go.
Yeah.
I don't have the burden to lug around.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad too. I'm going to jump down to Amendment number 26, right to vote at age 18. Yep. It's funny that one's not even a joke anymore because you've seen some of these leftists who want to make the right to vote down to like 16. Have you seen that?
Right.
Yeah. So get that unfit to exist garbage out of here. It's such an unfortunate phrase. Like if I'm putting on my PR cap, I would say, Mr. President, that probably wasn't the best choice of words. Because that's just going to rile up the opposition, right? That's going to get everybody upset saying, well, wait a minute, you can't say that. But then again, he obviously can just say that because he just did. And to my knowledge, let me check really quick. Oh, yeah, that's right. He hasn't been impeached.
Right.
It's just it's interesting to me that in the modern age of multiple impeachments per president, if in my mind, I was never one that had a really strong opinion on the whole impeachments of Donald Trump because it's just political theater. It really is.
Yeah.
But in my mind, if you're going to live in a world like, look, the state exists, right? Our harumphing on this program doesn't change it. The state exists. We have the federal government that we have, and we have a near emperor-like figure that is the president of the United States that can rule via executive order. But in that system, if there was anything that was going to get that guy removed from office, you would think it would be that guy going on national television and saying, this big, long document that contains within it the confines with which we can operate the government. This document that says the few and defined powers for me and my office, that's not absolute.
Right.
It doesn't actually apply to me. How did that not get him drug out of the office that minute?
Because we're weak.
Well, we're not any. You go saying we again.
Sorry, my mouse came out. My mouse in my pocket. Yeah, we aren't anything, but people are weak.
People are weak, but I guess the cynical going back around full circle back to cynical Alan is that I guess I can't find any lies in any of the things he said. Because in the world in which we live, with the government with which we have, he's right. Amendments to the Constitution aren't absolute, and he absolutely can rule by executive order. In the same way that his predecessor did, in the same way that his predecessors did, and in the same sense, I know if our friend Suzanne Sherman was here, she would be up in arms right now saying, this is what you get when you abandon federalism and put all of the ruling of the nation in the Supreme Court and the federal government, is that when the federal government decides that one right or another is no longer absolute, then the decision has been made.
Yep. Amen.
So what I would love to see more states like Tennessee just did pass constitutional carry. But what I would like even more than that, or along with that, is I would like to see more states pass bills that we talked about on recent episodes, which are laws that say that federal overreach is null and void, nullification. More 10th Amendment nullification-inspired bills need to pass at the state level. More states need to pass bills that specifically detail that if a federal gun law is passed, and if that infringes upon the Constitution or the laws within that state, then that law is not enforceable within that state. You know, Missouri can't fix what happens in California.
Right.
Tennessee can't fix what happens in New York. The next best thing they can do is fix what happens to Tennesseans within Tennessee. And I'm not a big Constitution, federalism guy, because I inherently see the Constitution as flawed and the state as evil, no matter how it's built.
Yeah.
But that is preferable to having a tyrant in the White House saying that whatever right, today it was the Second Amendment. What will it be tomorrow?
Right. Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows?
It won't be the income tax, though. It won't be that one.
No,
But who knows?
that will be the last one to go. That's the one they care about the most.
I don't know why that made me think about this. I shouldn't be going on a goat trail because my producer is wiring into me saying, hey, we're over time. But I've seen a lot of people saying, younger people and less economically inclined people, your socialist types, have been saying, well, wait a minute. If they're just going to print and spend all this money, then why are we paying taxes?
Ooh,
I mean, I'll give it to them. It's a good damn question.
that is a good damn question.
But I'll tell you one thing. The spending is always on the table. Getting rid of taxes, that's never on the table.
Never.
Guys, we will be back with why women's suffrage was the end of America's we when we come back right after this break. Guys, welcome back to the show. For our last segment today, it's not that I'm really talking about the coronavirus per se, because I know I've said a number of times I'm done talking about the coronavirus. Instead, this segment's really more about people. These people we like to affectionately call branch CAvidians, because I tell you what, guys, there are people out there, and the word cult gets bandied around a little bit. But I tell you, I mean, when the shoe fits,
Right.
there's these people out there, and you see them on social media, that their worldview is that you have to mask up and stay safe. That everyone should be forced, not just be forced to vaccinate. That we just can't open up. People can't have indoor dining. You can't go to see any movies or any concerts. We can't go back. This is the new normal, and we can't go back. And as long as the virus exists at all. And if you were to show them any evidence to the contrary, if you were to show them any charts or graphs that show that, well, actually, if you look at places like Florida or Texas, where they've dropped the mandates more recently. In Florida, haven't been around for some time. That, in fact, their numbers are way better than states that have the harshest of lockdowns, even up to this very day. That should be heralded as good news.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a rational human being with a shred of sympathy or empathy that doesn't just have a worldview that they need to see enforced, they would be happy to know that such charts and graphs were out there to show that, oh, well, actually people are doing a lot better. Cases are way down. And in places where they've dropped the lockdowns and the mandates, people are getting healthier. People are going back to living their lives. The economy's improving. Good on them. But that actually makes them upset.
It makes them upset because their need to be right about their draconian lockdowns is greater than their want for life to return to normal and for people to be healthy and happy.
Yeah.
And that's a heavy thing to say, but I feel like their actions belie that. Speaking of it being an absolute cult, this is an article. This was not photoshopped. This is not made up. Sherry, bring up this article. This is from a journalist named Lynn Wick that's actually over there in Norway. I would love to die from the AstraZeneca vaccine. It probably sounds very brutal, but some must be sacrificed in the war against the corona. That's the way it is in all wars. This time, it may well be me.
Ugh.
Holy, just, that's...
Yeah.
We need the Michael Jordan gif of stop it.
Right.
Get some help. Just,
At least we found something we can agree on with her. We think she should too.
I tell you what, guys, you won't find anyone as generous as me. I hope everyone gets what they love. I want everyone's dreams to come true. I really do. So she actually goes on to detail in her op-ed here that, there's been some healthcare workers, specifically out in Norway, that have died. There was a healthcare worker that died of cerebral hemorrhage after getting the vaccine, and several others that have been admitted to hospitals with various different levels of blood clotting that's threatening their lives after receiving the vaccine. And so now several European countries have taken a break from vaccination with the AstraZeneca on the basis of similar cases. And so her point is that the war, the pandemic is just like a war. And in war, some people have to be sacrificed for the greater good. And so if she could take this vaccine, if she could take some experimental gene therapy that led to her early demise, then so be it, because that would just mean they would have the data, they could make a better vaccine, and more people would be healthy and happy. I'll tell you what else would keep you from having blood clots is not take the damn thing.
That would work.
I mean, just
maybe.
I feel what's the thing of, the simplest answer is often the correct one.
Most correct one, yeah.
Yeah. I tell you what is that we talked about canceling earlier in the show with our various racist and homophobic slurs that we were discussing earlier. But I'll tell you what, what'll get you canceled on a platform like a YouTube or a Twitter or Facebook faster than any of that is disputing the official narrative on the coronavirus and suggesting that vaccinations are not 100% safe and effective.
Right.
But there's a funny thing in that, specifically in that term 100%. We just know objectively that's not correct. We know objectively that these vaccines have not been FDA approved the way vaccines normally are. They have been released on emergency experimental basis. We know that there have been people that have suffered adverse reactions to the vaccine. But above all that, we know that the vaccine itself is for a virus that has a mortality rate well below 1%. And that's overall. We're not even going to get into specific target groups. Like, should a 16-year-old be rushing to take a vaccine for a virus that he either will never get or will get and will suffer little to no adverse reaction from? Mm-hmm. Sherry, you're a mom.
Yes, I am.
Do you wake up every morning thinking to yourself, I got to get the kids out to get their COVID vaccines? Because if I don't, I'm putting them at serious risk.
I mean, of course I do,
Yeah.
Especially if we go everywhere without a mask.
I mean, it just goes to show, ladies and gentlemen, that for people like that, for people who would write a headline saying, I would love to die from the vaccine so that others may live. Boy, that's cult-like behavior.
Yeah.
I got to say, it really is. So anyway,
martyrdom.
It is. I mean, it's funny.
That's actually a good point. It is martyrdom. It's as it pertains to the mandates, as it pertains to specifically to like masks.
Mm-hmm.
The cult of the mask has produced a bunch of low status people who normally enjoy no power or authority, and they feel like scolding others on whether or not they're wearing their mask gives them a taste of what it's like to be relevant. And in that same sense, people who suffer from the coronavirus, people who take the vaccine, people like this Lynn Wick who want to take the vaccine and would welcome suffering adverse reaction, that gives them that sort of Jesus syndrome, right? That they feel like that they are sacrificing themselves for the greater of humanity. So first of all, no, you're not.
No.
And second of all, if I actually gave a damn about this woman, if this were somebody that I cared about, that was a loved one of mine, I couldn't be more displeased to hear them say this. I would want them to live. I would want them to be healthy and happy. But it still then comes back full circle to this concept that for these people, there's no amount of evidence that disputes the official narratives that can possibly move them from their positions. And as the evidence mounts, as it becomes more and more clear that this whole thing was just the biggest scam in modern history, that leads them to more and more extreme cult-like behavior to satisfy keeping their narrative alive. And so anyway, for the folks at home, if anybody comes to you and says, you know what, you should be required to have your vaccination, when can I sign you up? We got a little PSA for you right here. So this is what you do. Guys, just say no to the vaccine.
I like her style.
Who is that? Is that Snow White?
That's Snow White. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like this could be made into a movie with like Selma Hayek and Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Guys, we're going to be right back to wrap up the show right after this. Don't go away. Hi guys, it's Alan here, and I want to take a moment to let you know about one of our supporters who started a new business. Laura Moreau sells 50 different health and wellness all-natural products, from weight loss, supplements, energy enhancers, body toning, longer and stronger hair, and so much more. Do you like coffee? Well, they even have coffee that'll help you drop some pounds, and who doesn't want to drop a few pounds? Go check her out at her online store at lauramoreau.itworks.com today. That's lauramoreau.itworks.com. Like our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/AlanMosleyTV. You can follow me on Twitter. That's twitter.com/AlanMosleyTV. Subscribe to our YouTube page. It's youtube.com/AlanMosleyTV. Guys, don't just complain about not having a decentralized platform that values your free speech. Go out and support one. We're now on Odyssey, and you can find us over there by searching Alan Mosley TV or It's Too Late with Alan Mosley. I do just want to say really quick, the folks at Odyssey have been awesome. So we've had a couple of issues over there, but they've always been ironed out really quick. I enjoy the platform. They value your free speech. It's decentralized. They work on the library token. I mean, just couldn't be better people. Also, if you're more of a listener than a watcher and you like to binge listen to podcasts, you can do so now because we're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, all your favorite platforms of choice, thanks to Anchor. So there we are at Anchor FM. Once again, it's just Anchor FM/Alan Mosley TV. Sherry, do you have a final thought?
Yeah, just it's your job to protect yourself. Remember that.
It's your job to protect yourself. It's also your job to protect your kids.
Yes.
It's also your job to educate your kids.
Correct.
And it's also your job to not be a pedophile. No matter how much fun Sherry thinks it is, no. No. Guys, thank you so much for listening to another episode of It's Too Late, and we will see you next week.